Hello students. Today let's learn poem 1, that is The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Robert Frost is an American poet. He was born in San Francisco. He was a famous poet. Every poet has unique style in writing poems. In the similar way, he has his own style. The subjects of his poems are very realistic. They depict ordinary life of people and everyday situations. This poem is based on a very common experience. It is one of the most popular poems of Robert Frost. The poem has a profound meaning. The poet brings out the importance of making a choice in one's life. Choices in life are for good. One cannot turn back and make a second choice regarding one's goal of life. In this poem, two roads refer to choice or option. The poem says, a choice once taken can't be altered. Students, let's read the poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both warning equally lay. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere, ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Students, let's read the poem once again. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far that the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Stanza 1. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Let's see the meanings. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Diverged. The meaning of diverged is separated. Yellowwood is yellow forest. And the last line, to where it bent in the undergrowth. The meaning of undergrowth is wild bushes and low trees. It was autumn. The poet was walking down a road. Suddenly he reached a spot where two roads diverged in two different directions. He felt sorry that he could not travel on both the roads. He had to choose one of the two. He stood undecided for a long time. He looked down one road as far as he could see. He could see it up to a point where it turned to the undergrowth and disappeared. It happens in our lives also. When we have to choose one out of some alternatives, we take time to think, to take a decision. Stanza 2. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Let's see the meanings. Then took the other as just as fair. As just as fair means very good and attractive as the other one. Then comes perhaps the better claim. The meaning of this is better option. And next one, that is wanted where. Wanted where means had not been used so frequently. We know that the poet reached where the road was diverged in two different directions. The poet kept on looking which one was the right path for him. Then the poet took the other road because he felt that the path was better for him. It had grass on it. It was as fair as the first road, and it was unused. Not many people had walked on this path earlier. The poet thought that this road had a better claim to be travelled by. After walking on the path for some distance, he realized that both the roads showed equal signs, or both paths were similar and worn out. Stanza 3. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Let's see the meanings. Trodden. The meaning of trodden is trampled or crushed. Trodden black means turned black by being used very much. In this stanza, the poet says that morning both the roads were equally covered with yellow leaves, and they appeared that nobody had gone by those roads earlier, or no one had stepped on them. He decided to go by the second road, keeping the first one for some other day. However, poet knew that there was very little possibility of his coming back. He knew that one way leads on to another way. Similarly, even in our life, once we choose an option, we must keep on moving ahead with that option, and we never get a chance to come back and take the other option. Stanza 4. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Let us see the meanings. With a sigh. The meaning of sigh is deep breath. And the second line, somewhere ages and ages. The meaning of ages and ages is long back, and followed by hence. Meaning of hence is afterwards, in the future. In this stanza, the poet says that he would be telling others in the future about the choice he made, that long back he reached a point where the road was diverged in two different directions. Both roads were covered with leaves and looked same, and he took the one which had been travelled by lesser number of people. The choice had made all the difference in his life. Poet's decision shows his courage in this stanza. So, students, you should be wise and careful while making a choice in your life because your future depends on the choice you make today. Let's sum up, students. Once the poet came to a place where the road diverged in two different directions. He had to choose one of the two. The first road was frequently used, so he took the second road. This road had not been used so much. This choice had made all the difference for him. It affected the future course of his life. The choice once made is made. It cannot be altered. So, making choices in our life is important, but important choices of our life can't be altered or changed. Literary devices of the poem. Alliteration. Repetition of same consonant sound in the sentence is called alliteration. Example: wanted, where. In this, W is repeated. And the second line, way leads on to way. In this also is W is repeated. That is wa. Assonance. Repetition of vowel sounds in the same sentence is called assonance. Example for this is somewhere ages and ages hence. In this, a sound is repeated. The third poetic device is simile. It is a literary device used to compare things with familiar things, or it is an indirect comparison. Example: as just as fair. Here, road is said to be fair. The fourth one is metaphor. Metaphor is a poetic device used for direct comparison. There are many metaphors in the poem. For example, road is a metaphor of life. Then comes imagery. Imagery is visualization or mental mapping. This makes readers or listeners feel things or gives images of the poem. Examples: two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and the second one is no step had trodden black. Then comes rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme of the poem is AB, AA and B. Then comes the rhyming words of the poem. Wood, stood, both, growth, fair, where, claim, same, lay, day, black, back, sigh, I, hence, difference.